During the morning and early afternoon of October 25th, 1863, Colonel Powell Clayton, commander of federal troops occupying Pine Bluff, successfully repulsed a three-pronged Confederate attack of forces of General John S. Marmaduke. Cotton bales hastily placed around the courthouse and surrounding streets provided an effective barricade for Union defenders. Confederate loss: 41 killed, wounded, and captured. And this was all at the Battle of Pine Bluff here in Arkansas. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. This is P9 with another video, and I am in the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Pine Bluff is the 10th most populated city in the state of Arkansas and the county seat of Jefferson County. It has a population of 41,253. So a mid-sized city right here, and tons of history associated with Pine Bluff. It is situated in the southeast section of the Arkansas Delta, and it has a lot of flat land, farmland similar to other places in the Delta lowlands, specifically the lower Delta. There's a bunch of creeks, streams, bayous, and all type of landforms. But right now I'm here in downtown Pine Bluff at the corner of State and 5th Avenue. So we're just going to take a stroll through the city. And right over here, there's a Simmons Bank building. So Pine Bluff is situated along the Arkansas River. And prior to its establishment as a city, it was occupied by the indigenous people of various cultures, one of them being the Quapaw, federally recognized Native American tribe. So they resided along the river, Arkansas River. I'm walking down State Street now and see quite a few buildings that are in shambles. A lot of abandoned buildings. But Pine Bluff will be a nice city to it would be really nice to see Pine Bluff basically get revitalized and because it's one of the bigger cities in the Arkansas Delta. As a matter of fact, it might even be the largest city in the Arkansas Delta, you know. So it'll be real good to see this city make a turnaround. It does have potential, even if it may not seem like it. But right here, this looks like a railroad terminal right here. Pine Bluff Historical Museum. And this building right here was a Masonic temple, right here at the corner of 4th Avenue and State Street. And they have a Delta Civil Rights Walk right here. Wiley Barton Sr., Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Arkansas native, business owner and famed civil rights attorney, best known for representing the Little Rock Nine and Freedom Riders. Became the Dean of Howard at the University Law School. So shout out to Wiley Branton Sr. You also have Leo Branton Jr. And he was an entertainment lawyer and skilled litigator, best known for the successful defense and acquittal of celebrated civil rights activist Angela Davis. So a lot of history right here in Pine Bluff. As I mentioned earlier, you have William Harold Flowers, one of Arkansas's leading figures in the civil rights movements in the 1940s. He mentored Daisy Bates, and his grassroots organizing laid the foundation for the civil rights movement in Arkansas. You have Vernon Jordan Jr. right here. He was the attorney and close friends of Wiley Branton and took over his practice when Branton left to help national voter registration drives around the country. Jordan later served as executive director of the National Urban League. In the 1990s, he served as political advisor to U.S. President Bill and Senator Hillary Clinton. So that's Vernon Jordan Jr. And look at all these abandoned buildings. They have, but it's really good that they still have this history, those historical information right there sitting outside these buildings. But yeah, this used to be a jeweler right here. So it used to be a jewelry store. Not quite sure what this was, but let me keep going. And there was also a period of time in Pine Bluff where there was a desegregation of a McDonald's restaurant. A violent 1963 civil rights protest at McDonald's in Pine Bluff, Arkansas was momentous first step towards ending segregation at the national fast food restaurant franchise. High school and junior high school students were arrested. And this was during a protest at a McDonald's. So there was segregation in a lot of restaurants and public facilities, and Arkansas definitely was no different. Then you had the Clark-Doll test. African American children in Pine Bluff, Little Rock, and Hot Springs, Arkansas were the first cohort in the Clark-Doll test. Doctors Kenneth and Mamie Clark designed and tested the psychological impact of segregation on young children. And yes, shout out to those doctors. They were just basically trying to test out how children responded to the segregation that was rampant, and it did definitely. I definitely could imagine it had a huge psychological impact on them. And then you had the courthouse lynchings of 1892 here in Pine Bluff. Over 1,000 citizens watched two black men being hanged in front of the Jefferson County Courthouse in February 15th, 1892. This was one of the first spectacle lynchings in the United States. So extremely, very, very just infuriating and just horrific aspects of history right there, you know. Absolutely terrifying, you know. This is crazy. And you had George Edmund Haynes, Pine Bluff, Arkansas native, who was the co-founder and first National Urban League executive director. He trained social workers, and he was a trained social worker and educator. And he earned a PhD from Columbia University, which published his dissertation, The Negro at Work in New York City. George Edmund Haynes. So shout out to him. So a lot of very historical figures who've made something of themselves came from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, as you just saw. Thank you for taking the time out of your morning to sit down and have this talk with me about the city of Pine Bluff. And if you could just give us, the people, a little bit about yourself and your your experiences here in Pine Bluff.
Yes, so my name is Angie. I go by Afro Angie on socials. I came to the city of Pine Bluff about 10 years ago for university, for the HBCU, UAPB. And throughout my time at UAPB, I got to know the community, I got to know the story of the city, and see so many of the people who are doing great things to try to bring the city back. And I just wanted to stay and try to be a part of that.
Oh, excellent. I'm really glad to hear that. Pine Bluff it is a city, it's very historical, really good location in a very historically black region of the state. That being said, now I know a lot of times when people, especially when they go to university, they finish their education, they generally tend to move to like the bigger markets, like the Dallases, the Houstons, Atlanta, Nashville, so on and so forth. But what is it about Pine Bluff that made you, instead of going to those markets, staying right here in the city?
I wanted to stay here because, like you said, it's a historically black community, and a lot of times when we think of a black community, we think of like the hood, and so many of the hoods look run down, they need help. There's a lot of crime, there's poor education, the list goes on, and you will see some of those challenges here in Pine Bluff as well. But I really like the fact that the city and citizens and different organizations are working to try to combat that. And I think that that's important because that's going to change the trajectory of our children's future. I'm also an activist, so I know that one frightening statistic is that by 2053, the average Black American wealth will be zero as far as household. And I think that that's really sad because we have come so far, quote unquote. We're more educated now, we have better jobs, but for some reason, our wealth is still dwindling. And I think that a large part of that has to do with the lack of community that we have. I don't think that we move it with togetherness, but I think that there's potential for us to do that here in Pine Bluff, so that's why I stayed.
Oh, that's really good to hear because that, like you mentioned, we need it's really a mindset that's going to help us elevate, and a part of that starts with unifying and realizing that and I did see when I went to Mississippi Delta, for instance. And I did see a lot of those smaller cities and things of that nature. They have potential. One of them in particular, I saw like they were working on like building a small town called Moorhead, where a couple of the residents, one of them had a furniture store, the other one had there was a barber. And then, so it gave me like a sense of this could be something that I could see happening. Even when I was talking to him, he said he visualized that little town just starting to flourish in the future. So it definitely starts with just having the mindset to basically want to especially making a dollar circulate within the same community.
Right.
And which brings me to the question of is Pine Bluff, do you see Pine Bluff in a few years, say anywhere between the next 5 to 10 years, do you see it going to a level to where there's progress in regards to commerce and things of that nature for the Black residents?
I absolutely see that. I do think that if you look around, you see that they are already setting it up across the street. We have a plaza, and so there's going to be restaurants in there, and there's going to be shopping centers. I think people who sell products and services. Is going to be a rooftop bar, and so I think that is going to spur more businesses happening downtown, where we have a lot of abandoned buildings. Across the street, you also have the business Incubator, and they have office spaces in there. If you are a creative, there's increasingly more opportunities for you to be in plays and theater, to do live music, to sell your art. And so I definitely think that there has already been progress, and I certainly hope and believe that in the next 5 to 10 years it will just increase exponentially, and that's what I advocate for.
Oh, very well. That's really good to hear, because like when I was walking around earlier, I did see there's a lot of very talented people in the city.
Yeah.
Obviously, very talented. You know, a lot of artwork, and so that is really. It does see like it all starts somewhere.
Yeah.
It all starts somewhere.
Yeah.
So when you walk around and when you see the really nice pieces of art, you start to. I feel like it'll elevate everybody around the city to want to. Become better, and I think all of that is really important. So and it's really good that someone like yourself is advocating for the growth of this the city, because we definitely need that. We need these cities that are they're smaller, but like definitely those are, in my opinion, those are the better ones, because it's you have, the smaller the city is, I feel like there's more community oriented type of a spirit, so yeah.
And I also want to make sure that I say, of course, I am not the only one advocating. There are so many groups, so many citizens, so many city officials. I certainly want to shout out those people who are doing the work, because it's not something that any one person could do by themselves. And so I'm just happy to be part of the trajectory that was already happening before I even got here.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good to know that, like you said, it is a collaborative effort. And like, when you see, and it's definitely something that's that takes time. We do understand it takes time for these things to go, but it's definitely worth the time and effort being put in, especially when you have a vision, so yeah. And then you have multiple people with their visions coming together, and seeing and basically working to make those things come to fruition. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now you mentioned I remember you mentioned earlier about crime and things like that. Now, in regards to, like they're like, reports, statistics, they say one thing, but it's always good to hear it from people who actually live within the city, like how to get a better understanding of how it really is. So what would you say Pine Bluff is in regards to crime compared to like, other cities around the state or within the region in general?
Yeah, I would say, we don't want to be naive or sugarcoat what's happening there. The city does have challenges, but in my opinion, in my experience, what you hang around is what you get. And I think that just like anywhere in the world, any city in the world, you do have those instances where innocent people do get caught up in things. But for the most part, again, in my experience, if you hang around people who are trying to better themselves and are about business and are at places like the library, very nice, you are advocating for more businesses to come in, and you're keeping yourself on the straight and narrow path, you really won't see any of that. The times that I hear about things is when I hear about it on the news, because that I don't really hang around those types of environments and those types of crowds. And people will make you think that if you come to Pine Bluff, you only see one type of person or one type of environment, and that's not true. The city does have a lot of different things to offer for those who are more into like the classy side or more into the business side, or those, like, it's not all clubs, it's not all quote unquote gangs. Stop. Yeah, so it's a lot more than what meets the eye, especially when it comes from a statistics standpoint. I always say that I feel like those statistics are inflated because a lot of times they're based on a population of 100,000 people. We don't even have 100,000 people here in this city. And so they kind of are estimating that if there were 100,000 people, this is the kind of crime that would be going on, and it makes the city look worse than it actually is.
Yeah.
So those statistics are not my experience, but I don't want to be insensitive to those who have experienced, the things that are discussed in those type of statistics. But
Oh, absolutely. You make a good point there too about the how they use it on that 100,000 metric. Yeah, that's it is.
A lot of people don't realize that,
Yeah.
and so they make smaller cities like Pine Bluff look like one of the worst cities in America. That's because they're assuming that if the city had 100,000 people, when in fact a lot of the crime that Pine Bluff is dealing with is because there has been a sharp decrease in population, which means there's not enough tax dollars to improve infrastructure and education and things like that. So if the city had more citizens, that number would actually likely decrease because there'd be more resources to improve the lives of the citizens. And despite the fact that we don't have those tax dollars, the city, as you can see, is still moving forward.
Yeah, I was actually amazed when I was walking around. I was like, it's like, yeah, I can see there's definitely progress going. Even when I was walking around the library, I saw there's a recording studio in here. Two of them. Wow. We don't even have a recording studio in our library, so I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty dope.
Kitchen, a boardroom where you can have virtual meetings. We have a conference room that can be split into two. We just had a conference last week, I believe. The story steps upstairs. They have tons of activities for children to do. And this is just the library.
Oh yeah.
We have the Arts and Science Center that has a museum that has plenty of events. Again, I talked about the plaza that they're building over here. We have the generator down the street that's a hub for entrepreneurs. And further down the street, you have a new park, a new mural, and then it's connected to a new pickleball court. Everywhere you turn in the city, honestly, you can vouch. There's development happening here. And so it's just about, number one, spreading that message externally, but also helping the people who live here, who are so used to the trauma in the city, open their eyes and appreciate and really take in what's happening. Because sometimes, unfortunately, because there have been so many challenges in Pine Bluff, it is hard to get people to acknowledge the good that's happening.
Oh yeah.
Because for years there was more bad that was talked about. So we're up against a lot, but if you ask me, the bigger challenge is not the crime or the lack of things to do, but the way people perceive the city. I think that is the biggest challenge facing Pine Bluff.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. It's really all about really how you look, how you really, like you said, it's about perception. And it's really just good to just come and see that, all of the, because another thing I want to mention is that that's another purpose of the channel, is to kind of like, there's always going to be, I guess, there's going to be what's talked about, what people might, because, from an outsider's perspective, you might have people that might hear things about certain places, but I like to also go to places and see and a lot of times when I go to these places, let's say if a place might have a bad reputation or something like that, I want to basically be able to kind of like say, no, it's definitely the narrative. There's a narrative, but then there's also the reality.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So that's and so basically that's why I appreciate about coming to Pine Bluff, to say that this is this city is definitely on the rise. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And I want everybody to see that this will be a good place. This is a good place to come and visit and and have a community vibe and all that good stuff, and
raise a family.
Raise a family, absolutely. Yeah, good.
I will say if you are coming and you're thinking about moving here, you have to have a strong why for me, I'm an activist. I love the Black community, and I believe that we have enough to not just have a stereotypical, rundown, impoverished community. I think that there's enough people who have enough education, talent, and resources to make this a thriving city, and that keeps me focused. Maybe it's the cost of living. Maybe you're tired of how expensive it is in other places. Whatever it is, you have to have a very strong why. Because as I was sharing with you earlier, unfortunately, there's so much baggage connected to the city that sometimes people who live here themselves will be part of the reason that you feel discouraged because they don't see their city. Like, unfortunately, in my experience, and this is not to down talk anyone, but in my experience, the people who have not grown up in Pine Bluff are often more appreciative and more positive about what the city has to offer than those who grew up here for some reason.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's because they have been so weighed down by disappointment, you know. If they lived here, maybe this is nice, but they said this was going to happen 20 years ago, you know. I'm sure there's valid reasons why, but for some reason, the good that's happening here sometimes does not even register to the citizens who have grown up here. So if you don't stay rooted, if you don't stay focused on your why and what you're doing, you can get bogged down because it's very hard for people to appreciate what's here. It's so much more popular. And like you said, you're amazed when you walk around because you don't hear this. And unfortunately, sometimes the citizens who have grown up here won't even tell you themselves. They'll tell you about the bad. I don't know why it's like that, but I will warn/encourage. I'm not from here. I'm fine. I have a business. My family, my husband and I are raising our son here. We have a great community of people that we, you know, associate with. Again, my husband's not from here either, though. You know, so if you are someone that's thinking about moving here, it's a great place to live. Very cheap, beautiful homes. But make sure you have a strong why, and do not get bogged down by the unfortunately sometimes prevailing culture of only focusing on the negativity in Pine Bluff, because it's easy to get caught up in that. It's almost popular to talk about what's wrong with Pine Bluff. Sometimes if you talk about what's good in Pine Bluff, I think it's almost common for people to tell you, okay, yeah, but what about this? And list 10,000 negative things that you didn't even know about. You know what I'm saying? Had they not told you about it, you would be like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I don't know why it's like that. But you have to make sure you stay grounded and stay focused on your why.
Okay.
I would say that.
Well, I'm glad you did say that. I'm glad you did mention that because you know, there are those people out there that have those questions, you know, and everything like that. And you know, so it's really good. Like I said, it's always good to hear from somebody who has experience and who has ties to the city and everything like that. And yeah. Now there's gonna be some people in the audience who's gonna be curious as to you know they like to eat, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So they would just what would be some like really good eating spots around the area that you would say?
So I just found out about this restaurant. I want to say it's on 6th Street. It's called Big D's. It's a barbecue place, and the food looked good. I stepped in to see that he need any marketing, because my husband and I have a marketing company.
Okay.
But the food looked good. Excuse me. We have a pizza place right on the outside, or on the edge of Pine Bluff, called Sylvia's Pizza. They also sell gelato. It's super cute in there. They have a cute little bar. It's a really nice time. We do have your typical chains. We have Wingstop. We have we got that. But we have a sandwich shop at Decora's. She also sells cakes and cookies, really nice gourmet things. We have no sir, do not do that. We have a coffee shop in downtown that has cute like cafe kind of things. Next to the coffee shop we have Miss Margaret's Cupcakes, the best cupcakes you have ever had in your life. Those cupcakes are amazing. On Harding there is a little grocery spot. They have like good Philly cheese steaks. They have good wings. I will be honest, there's not just so many choices of food in Pine Bluff, but It's a great opportunity for an investor.
Okay.
Especially if you want to invest near UAPB, the college campus. Those students are from all over the United States, all over the world, honestly. And almost every weekend when school is in session, they go to Little Rock for options. So think about how much of that money you could be keeping if you were to offer something for those students. And that's just the students. The citizens want somewhere else to enjoy as
exactly.
well. So I always tell people, wherever you see a lack in Pine Bluff, it's truly an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So don't see it as there's nothing for Pine Bluff to do. See it as a blank canvas where you can make your masterpiece, because that's really what Pine Bluff is, especially as they're developing. That means that there's nothing but more to come.
Oh, that was a really good way to put it. That canvas, I like that. That was dope. That was dope.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I actually just came up with that last night, so I said
yeah.
it again.
Okay. All right. Very, very nice. Very nice. But yeah, and you say you're into marketing?
Yes, marketing and media, that's what we do. So a lot of storytelling to change the narrative of Pine Bluff. Like you were saying, it's the difference between the narrative and the reality. But you know, what we're really learning is it's so deeply ingrained. And again, it's not just Pine Bluff, it's any predominantly black community, unfortunately. We're taught from a young age, when you live in the hood, get up and leave. Well, how much of that talent is going to these other communities that already have nice things and building up those spaces? We need to keep that talent right here.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of the narrative work that I'm doing is help people shift their mind from I'm that girl, I'm that guy, so I'm too good for a place. No, I'm that girl, I'm that guy, and I'm so good, I can turn this community around. That's the kind of mindset I'm trying to cultivate.
Okay, well.
Shout out to the Pine Bluff Fire Department.
Shout out. Hey, PB
everybody that I've ever heard that works for the fire department, they love their job. They love their job. They just had a camp for the kids. They love the camp. I mean, so.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that. You know, like I'm really, cause you know.
And they're hiring, by the way.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's what's up. You know, and that's good. That's good that they have it like that. You know. Stop. Because yeah, it's good. I always like to hear when they come, like people that come from a certain part, like a certain area, and instead of leaving, they stay, and you know, and you just, you know, you do whatever you can to make your community a better place and everything like that. You know, because it's easy, like you said, it's easy for people just to pick up and leave, just you know what I'm saying, but like, you know, but like when you stay and you know, kind of like
be the change you want to see.
Be the change, exactly. Be the change.
That's what drives me. I'm not from Pine Bluff. It's a funny story. My mom actually was born here. She was put into the foster care system. So that's how we didn't grow up in Pine Bluff. We just reconnected with our biological family from Pine Bluff. Okay. But however, although I'm not from Pine Bluff, I did grow up having some of the same experiences that some of the kids in the Pine Bluff hoods went through, you know. And I don't want to get too much into it, but I know what it's like to be very, very poor and want to do anything you can to get out of the circumstances that you're in. And so I relate to people who are like, I didn't get this good education. I didn't work this hard to stay. I get that. But what keeps me going is thinking about the kids who might be going through what I went through. Somebody has to look out for them. And I think sometimes people think, I don't have to be in Pine Bluff to help. I can just give them some money, right? But if you don't have that tax base to support what you're giving, you're putting money into a pit. And on top of that, those kids are going, or not even kids, adults, whoever, is looking at you, and they're going to try to go where you are. And so we've already seen it with any hood, really. A lot of times people be like, this neighborhood used to be so nice. Somebody left the hood that they were in to move into a nice neighborhood, and 20 years later, what happened? That neighborhood turned into the hood, and it's still happening. So that's why it doesn't make sense to keep trying to leave rather than fix what is consistently happening within our community.
Most definitely. Like, yeah, you may as well why not just stay here, stay where you are, and just, you know, build it up
because you're capable. You don't have to have somebody else to validate what's already in you. And on top of that, not only are you capable, you know the needs of your community better than somebody. People talk about gentrification, right? If somebody who's not from the community can come in and turn it around, why can't we?
Right,
we
exactly.
absolutely can. But we have to want to do that. And I also want to say, if someone is in a life or death situation, obviously this does not apply. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But in a community like Pine Bluff, people will make you think every part of Pine Bluff is just too dangerous, and that's not the truth. There's certainly places in Pine Bluff where people with the right mentality can come in and change things, and it is already happening.
Okay. Well, yeah. That's good. That's good to know. That's good to know. Like I said, it's really good to see these places like make progress in the right direction. You know, and it's really good to be able to come in like you say, just have those narratives just basically put to bed. You know, and you see the real deal, and yeah. But like I said, I really do appreciate you, Angie, for taking the time out of your schedule this morning, and you know, sitting down and having this discussion. Yes. And you know, and is there any social media or anything like that you would like to shout out?
Yeah. So if you want to see more about Pine Bluff, I would encourage you to check out C Network on any platform, especially on YouTube. We've got day in the lives of politicians, of pageant queens. We've got artist spotlights of people who sing, people who are in theater. We've got a lot of behind the scenes of what's really happening in Pine Bluff. If you want to keep up with me personally, you can find me at Afro Angie on all platforms.
Okay, very well. Shout out to Angie. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you for checking out Pine Bluff, and I hope that you drive around and get some more footage and show the people what's really going on here.
Oh, most definitely. We're gonna make this thing. We're gonna get this thing. We're gonna make this thing blow for real.
Awesome. And shout out to all the other cities that you're going to. I hope that we can form some kind of alliance, you know, to push back against this narrative collectively. So.
Absolutely, most definitely. But yeah, we definitely appreciate you, and look forward to coming back to Pine Bluff. I feel like now I got a home to come to. So, thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And look at this. Only thing you can do is walk around and only imagine how prosperous this place was in its heyday. That's the only thing you really could do. They had an attorney at a law firm right here in this building. Fashion wigs. Seems like a place I also used to sell suits. 2 wigs, $19.99. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy how all these buildings right here are abandoned, or at least most of them. But I do see glimpses of some newer developments, newer construction, things like that. Some artwork. So, you know,
That always helps to have some really cool artwork. These are some nice paintings right here on canvas, illustrating the blues and the musical culture associated with the Arkansas Delta. Check this out, check this out. Nice painting of the saxophone right there. Tambourine, harmonica. Nice, you have the musical notes right there. The trumpets and the trombones. Hashtag PB Musical Legacy. Okay. Have a violin right here. And he had a piano. Really nice, really nice. It might be the bass. I don't know. I could have that musical instrument mistaken, but nevertheless, it's really cool, really nice. Now I'm gonna go over here. Get this mural. Now this looks like Pine Bluff back in the late 19th century. Main Street back in 1888 to be exact. Now this mural was by Robert Dafford and Douglas Dafford. They've done several murals in many different cities. They've done I remember they did a couple of those flood wall murals in a few of those cities located across the river. So they do a really good job with their murals. This is really cool how they did this mural, illustrating Pine Bluff back in the late 19th century. They had a drugstore. You had a lot of merchants, grocery stores. Of course, back then they traveled by horse and railway, rail cars, different stuff like that. Wholesale dry goods, Pine Bluff supplier. Really dope. Main Street, 1888. Painted by Robert Dafford, Douglas Dafford of Lafayette, Louisiana. October 1992. And that sits over here at the 3rd and Main Street Park. But let's keep going because there's more. Looks like they have some stuff going on over here. Looks like a park. I don't know if they're doing like some work on it or whatnot, but they have like a playground over here. Nice little park. Let me go here and check it out. See what they got going on over here in this art display. Now this is fire right here. This is fire. Pine Bluff, it all starts here. 3rd Street. And I guess these are some of the historical musical figures associated with Pine Bluff. Here you strumming the guitar right here. This brother, his name is Bobby Rush. Bobby Rush arrived in Pine Bluff in 1948 and was raised here and in Sherrill, Arkansas. Okay, really nice. And it goes Route 65, which is a major route in the blues and musical industry. You have the Jitterbugs Club. That must have been a popular spot here in PB. And you have Sippy Wallace right here. Sippy Wallace right there on the mic. The sister was born in Jefferson County, Arkansas. This was back in 1898. Shout out to Sippy Wallace. And then you have Lead Belly on the guitar. Lead Belly gathered field recordings at Cummins Prison Farm back in Gould, Arkansas in 1934. So that goes Lead Belly. Shout out to him. And you have Miss Carey's. I guess that was another popping spot right here in PB back in the day. And right here on the microphone, you have Miss Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin performed as a teen in Pine Bluff and Dumas, Arkansas in 1957. So shout out to Miss Aretha Franklin. May she R.I.P. May they all R.I.P. And let's go over here to this section. It talks about the historical significance of the drums, the roots and remnants of West African musical traditional chants. Melodic inflections and hemiola-based rhythms can be found clearly in the modern-day blues aesthetic, an auditory genetic code made manifest across eons of time and longing. So yeah, this those musical instruments were not just a form of performing music, but they were also a great way of communication. So shout out to the roots and remnants of West African traditional chants and music. And let's proceed over here. Yeah, they had the Ebony Club too. The Ebony Club was another gathering spot for people to come out and listen to music. And Little Milton, this picture you see right here, Little Milton was born in 1933 and raised in Greenville, Mississippi. So he was raised in the Mississippi Delta, which is obviously not too far from the Arkansas Delta. But shout out to Little Milton. I like this piece right here too, that orange and yellow mixed with that white. I like how these colors fuse together. You have Johnny Winter right here on the guitar. Johnny Winter lived in Leland, Mississippi, beginning in the late 1940s. So I actually talked about Johnny Winter in my Leland, Mississippi vlog. So go check that out if you guys haven't seen it. Part of my Mississippi Delta series. Then you have Route 82, also a major highway on the Blues Trail. And you have the one and only Mr. B.B. King. Riley B.B. King was born in 1925. He come out of Indianola, Mississippi. So B.B. King, he has a major blues museum and interpretive center in Indianola, which I covered in my Indianola vlog. Also part of the Mississippi Delta series. And there you have it. You have the Delta Rhythm and Bayous Highway. And you have this really nice painting of the Bayou Bartholomew. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. You got the alligators, the catfish. Really nice. So shout out to whoever put together this nice work of art right here in this, right here on Main Street. Definitely keeping the history alive. So I would imagine a lot of those clubs and musical venues, juke joints, I would imagine that they were down this street right here. where a lot of these abandoned buildings are. Stephanie Flowers, attorney at law. And they have the inscription of G.M. Dilly and Son, founders, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Check this out. Look at back in the day. Look at those cameras back in the day. Looks like one of those old westerns. I can't make out who the artist of this mural is, but it looks like there it is right there. I cannot make out what that is, to be honest. But it's a nice mural. Nice mural. Freeman Owens and Bronco Billy Anderson, Max Aronson, two who shaped the movies. SOA, okay. Bronco Billy Anderson. I gotta look that up. I've gotta look that one up. I don't think I've ever heard. Never heard of Bronco Billy before. But it sits outside this, it sits on the side of this building right here. And I don't know what this, it says Burt's. I wonder if this was from the outside. It looks like it's it looks like it may have been one of those places that sold like appliances or something. But it's really hard to tell. Upscale sports bar. Just want to come over here and get this artwork. It's really nice. This was done by some artists, some local artists. Here they go right here. Shout out to them. Aliza Bolden, Asia Brown, Robert Butler, Jillian Jones, Justin Thomason, Kathy Whiteside Sims, Zach Webb. And I think they were part of the UAPB Student Expedition Digital Arts. This is really nice. This is really cool. Just wanted to come over here and show some love. Shout out to them. But yeah, it looks like this used to be a sports bar right here. But again, a lot of these places shut down due in large part to the decline of the industries here in Pine Bluff and other regions alike. And as I mentioned in one of my older videos, mechanization caused a lot of the farming jobs to basically evaporate, and this is where we are now. It caused a lot of people to lose work, and the economic struggles ensued. It goes another mural. This one is of the University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff. So it started off as in 1873 as a branch normal, and then it changed to an Arkansas A&M College in 1927, and eventually in 1972 it became the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, full-fledged university. So it just illustrates kind of like the chronology and the history, where it pretty much started off as an agricultural university, a lot of farming, of course. Given the location, the flat location of the plains and the farms, it's a really nicely done mural. Really nicely done. Again, not sure who, I don't see a name on it, so I'm not sure who did it, but whoever done it did a really great job. And I like to give credit, so. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work to be done if this city was to ever make some form of turnaround. It's a lot of work, lots and lots of it. Not saying it's impossible, but it's going to take an awful lot. Wow. The Baghdad, Douglas Fairbanks in the Baghdad, taking you back to Baghdad of the days when the salt of life was love and the wine of life adventure. Amen. For sure. But yeah, look at this building though. Look at it. It's crazy. This used to be, it looks like this probably was a theater. It's shaped like a theater. So they have, you have this massive building. I'm not sure what this building is. This one looks more modern, but it sits across from the community theater right over here. That's obviously abandoned. That whole building, matter of fact. Oh, this is called the Donald Reynolds Community Services Center. So that's one of the more modern buildings right here in downtown PB. At the corner of Main and 2nd Street. And at this corner, they have this RJ Sports Grill and Bar. And it may still be open. Looks like it's still a functional establishment. But check this out. They have some real estate for sale over here. D. Herring Real Estate. For those interested in investing in some real estate, y'all holler at D. Herring Real Estate. Goes the number right there. But yeah, they got some real estate right over here. Sits right almost at the end of Main Street. This I don't know if it's still open. It doesn't look like it, but actually, yeah, they do have it's still a functional business. It's have Pine Bluff Title Company. They just moved to a different location. They moved further down Main Street, and they even have a campaign sticker right here for Sarah Huckabee Sanders for governor. Okay, a little political right there. Taylor Surveying. Okay, they have a surveying company right here. That's what's up. And a re-election sticker, Justice Robin Wynn, Supreme Court. So a little campaign literature from back then. But yeah, look at that building over there. That building that's abandoned, of course, used to be the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department Patrol Division. Ben's Bail Bond, U-Ring, We Spring. All right. I believe they still open. They look like they still open. 24-hour service. Wonder what this building is right here. Wonder if this is a courthouse. Looks like it might be potentially a courthouse. Yep, it is. But I'm gonna come back over here because I want to come over and get this mural of a very historical figure, very significant historical figure. And here is Chief Saracen. Chief Saracen, a very historical, legendary hero right here in Jefferson County. He was the honorary chief of the French Quapaw Native American tribe. And unfortunately, Saracen witnessed the removal of his people from traditional land in Arkansas territory, or from Arkansas to Indian territory. And you know, he had mixed blood, so because of that, he had no rights to the role of the hereditary chief. However, Saracen was still considered a war chief, and he basically spearheaded the war between the Quapaws. And yeah, this is really cool, really cool sculpture right here, or mural, I should say. So that's Quapaw. Right outside that, the log cabin. The children. And it looks like the servants right there. But Saracen, there's actually a landing not far from here, about a river. We're going to get to that in a minute. It was named after Saracen. And Saracen is also credited as being a hero because he saved 2 white children from being kidnapped by the Chickasaw tribe. So he's definitely a legend right here in Jefferson County, or Pine Bluff, whatever you want to call it, Arkansas as a whole. But yeah, this is the Jefferson County Courthouse. And the first the first courthouse in Jefferson County was created in 1829 and named for President Thomas Jefferson, who was erected on this site at Pine Bluff in 1833. Meanwhile, sessions of the county court had been held first at the house of Joseph Boone and second at the home of Antoine Barraque, 3 miles below Pine Bluff and on the same side of the Arkansas River. Okay. I'm over here on Barraque Street. Barraque Street was a street named for Antoine Barraque, who was a native of France, soldier of Napoleon, and one of this area's earliest settlers. Founder of New Gascony in this county, he was a man of property and Indian sub-agent. Trusted and liked by the Quapaw Nation, he led that tribe to their new home pursuant to the Treaty of 1824. A distinguished citizen of early Jefferson County, Antoine Barraque has descendants still living in Pine Bluff. So, shout out to Barraque, Antoine Barraque, and this is the street named after him, which is an historical street near the riverfront. So we're gonna go check it out. Southeast Engravers. It's nice artwork right there. Yeah, they have some engravers right here. Southeast Engravers. Donald Grimm, founder, 1971. They have a coffee house, Indigo Blue. Okay. They have some cupcakes, unique cakes. So at least that side right there has a few functional establishments. Now they do the building I just passed by, the one on the far right, used to be a hardware store. It's called Delmon and McGregory back in the late 19th century. It was established in 1883. Making my way towards the riverfront. And I might, I think, now that I think about it, guys, I do apologize. This is not a river. This is actually a lake. This is Lake Saracen. So it's really a lake. But check this out. Before I get there, they have this old, probably early 20th century home right there that functions as a tourist information center. It's called the Dexter Hardin House. Again, it sits over here by the Jefferson County Courthouse. And yeah, this is the lake over here, Lake Saracen. I'm over here by the Saracen Lake, over here at Saracen Landing. Just wanted to get a close-up of the lake. So this is a place that you could come to go fishing and boating and things like that. You even have a pavilion, nice pavilion, plenty of shade in this Arkansas heat. And you even have this nice fountain right over here. But this is the Saracen Landing right here in Pine Bluff. Come check it out if you're into fishing and just overall relaxing on the lake. Some more murals right here in downtown Pine Bluff. It's a nice mural right here. Back then they had the street cars or the trolleys. This is an illustration of that. And this is the conductor right here and a couple of the workers on the streetcar. This was the Bluff Company, streetcar company. 2nd and Main Street is what they have on the front of the trolley. So this is a really cool mural. And this is also another mural. Back then they had the horses and carriage. And they had Davis Hospital. So really nice nice murals. These are by Dafford, the Dafford brothers, Dafford Murals. And I'm gonna go ahead and get this mural over here. This one is by D. Gensler in 2000. It's just an illustration of the Delta heritage. You see the cotton fields. You see the slaves right there. And of course, cotton was a major crop here in the South. So shout out to D. Gensler for this really nice mural. In our Delta heritage, Jefferson County during the 1920s and 40s highlighted John Russ mechanical cotton picker and how it changed the Delta. So John Rust invented the cotton picker, and that changed how cotton was cultivated during that time. And I definitely wanted to get this mural over here of the Tuskegee Airmen. Tuskegee Airmen, obviously very historical group of black fighter pilots. As you can see, Tuskegee Airmen. It's a really nice mural. This mural was put together by local Brandon Maddox. Shout out to Brandon Maddox. It was back in 2021 where he put together this really nice mural. There you go, right there. So this is really nice. And for those who haven't seen my Tuskegee video, go check it out. I did a vlog in Tuskegee on site of the National Tuskegee Airmen National Historical Site. And also, if you've never seen the movie with Lawrence Fishburne and Cuba Gooding Jr., I believe Malcolm Jamal Warner was in there as well. But it was called Tuskegee Airmen. It was one of those made for TV type movies back in the 90s, but it was a really good movie for those who haven't seen it. I had to come check out this fountain over here by the bank, Simmons Bank. But I'm gonna come walk down here towards the library. Now you guys are gonna see something really cool, because for those who might not think there's any investments being made into Pine Bluff, then that notion is going to be debunked here pretty soon. Because now I'm walking down Main Street. I'm at the corner of Main and 6th Avenue. And right here is the library. This is the main library of Pine Bluff in Jefferson County. Now the inside of that library is really nice. The library itself is real nice and modern, state of the art. They even had 2 recording studios in there. They have 2 recording studios. Yes, you heard that right. Right here at this library. But they also have, it's really nicely architected. Like the way that they even have some stairs in there. Like at the, like where that, see where that roof kind of slants over there? Well, they have some stairs right over there. It's real nice. They go up to the top of the roof, which is really nice. Really nice. But let me go over here, because there's some more really cool artwork. Yo, look at this right here. This goes to show you how much potential there is in the city of Pine Bluff when they come and they make these really nice paintings. All the different colors right here. Who was that? G-New 25. G-New 25 did this really dope mural. Now this is nice over here as well. Check this out. This is a mural of what looks like a gentleman playing what's that, a fiddle? No, it's not a fiddle, looks like a banjo. Or no, it's a guitar. I didn't see this right here. It's a guitar. G-New 25 also did this really nice artwork. But as you guys can see, there's definitely renovations and investments being made here in Pine Bluff. And we're going to see even more of that later on in the video. We're going to see even more investments. This is the Incubator office complex, the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. And some more nice artwork over here, also by D-New 25. This is really cool. This is really dope. I like this right here. This sister with the loop earrings. Really nice. Check this out. So this looks like this is over here by the Arts and Science Center. It's another really cool piece of artwork. Southeast Art Science. Yeah. Really cool. Really nice, y'all. Yeah. Engage, educate, entertain. They even paving the, they're doing a lot of investments and betterments of the area when they're not only building new buildings, but they're also paving the roads. Navigate myself around this best way possible. Yeah, this is the Arts and Science Center for Southeast Arkansas. I'm over here by the aquatic center. Pine Bluff does have an aquatic center. And it's over here by City Hall and the convention center as well. So that aquatic center I passed by is relatively looks like a new facility. Which just further proves that there are investments being made into Pine Bluff. Well, I'm gonna go ride around the city. Give you guys a glimpse of other parts of Pine Bluff. Seafood restaurant to the right called Underwater Seafood. Getting ready to hit this left on Harding Ave.
looks like the site of the old Pine Bluff High School. Taylor Field. You can't tell me that city officials and leaders aren't pouring into their cities when you have a casino and resort being built in the city. This is Saracen Casino and Resort, and this is huge for Pine Bluff because it brings jobs and opportunities for a lot of the residents, and it also provides it helps the tax base for the city, because think about it, there is a market to tap into. There are people that like to gamble. You know, there's a lot of people that just, you know, like to, or just come to the city and just vibe and whatnot. They have a place to stay. So that's pretty cool. And the Saracen Casino and Resort is not far from it's like basically right around the Harding Avenue commercial district here in Pine Bluff. It sits over here by this traffic circle.
Standing here in front of Caldwell Hall, and in front of Caldwell Hall lays this marker of one Joseph Carter Corbin. In 1875, Joseph Corbin, the son of former slaves, became the founder and principal of Branch Normal College, which is now UAPB, where he served until 1902. A profound mathematician, outstanding musician, linguist, and holder of bachelor and master degrees from Ohio University, Corbin was elected state superintendent of public instruction and served as chairman of the board of trustees of Arkansas Industrial University, now the University of Arkansas System. He later served as principal of Murals School in Pine Bluff until the time of his death in 1911. There goes Joseph Carter Corbin right there. And we about to check out UAPB. I'm over here on the main campus of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. So we're gonna walk around, take a look at some of the campus. And as you can see, here comes the sign for University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, formerly an AM and N college, established in 1873. So as you can see, they have the sculptures of the lions. The golden lions are the mascot of UAPB. Now, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, or UAPB as it is called for short, was chartered as a branch normal college of the Arkansas Industrial University in 1873. And the school opened at 2nd and Oak in 1875. In 1882, the college was relocated to a 20-acre site between 2nd and 4th Spruce and Cedar East. In 1921, the name of the college was changed to Arkansas AM&N School, and in 1927 to AM&N College. to reflect the land grant mission of the institution. The campus was relocated to this site in 1921, or 1929, excuse me, and in 1972, with President Lawrence A. Davis Sr. as head, the college rejoined the university system as the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Davis served 1 year as the first chancellor, and there goes a picture of Mr. Davis right over up here. So the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff is one of the many HBCUs located in the South United States. I'm on University Avenue right now. This is where the UAPB police department is located, the public safety center for the campus. Fine Arts Center. Fine Arts Center building over here. And across the street, they have what's called the Golden Lions Mall. The Golden Lions Mall. So I guess they have like a little shopping center for the students. It has a barber shop in there. At least that's how they're branding it. They're branding it as the Lions Mall, as if it's a mall. So not too familiar with it, but guys who are familiar and are watching this video, chime in. It's a pretty cool sculpture right over there in front of that Fine Arts building. So this school opened up over 150 years ago. Can't believe it's been 150 years. I'm over here at the center of the university. So no activity going on right now, as this is the summer. The students, of course, are out of classes, aren't in session. Students are away for the summer vacay. See,
They even have the banners up there. 150 years. 2023 is when UAPB celebrated its sesquicentennial anniversary. Check this out. They have this little clock tower thing right here. Sits in front of this this building called the Henderson Young Hall. But this is the William O'Brien Bell Tower. Come in here and get some context, historical context behind the Bell Tower. Constructed in 1947 during the administration of Dr. L.A. Davis Sr., the tower stands as a symbol of unity, loyalty, and pride of the university family. The large bell was moved from the old Branch Normal campus in 1929 and later installed in the belfry after the tower was constructed. The Carillon bells were added in 1949, and the tower was renovated and the surrounding plaza added in 1999 during the administration of Dr. L.A. Davis Jr. This tower was designed by William Wild Bill Lee, Director of Trades. Labor was provided by the students and teachers under supervision of Alexander Mazik, an instructor of Brickland. So that's really dope that the students, under the direction of Alexander Mazik, constructed this very monumental structure dedicated to the memory of Dr. William O'Brien for his many services, or many years of distinguished service as president and president emeritus of the AMN College National Alumni Association. So it's a really nice symbolic landmark here on the campus. So they have it's a mix of, it looks like a mix of more modern buildings and more of the older, outdated buildings. And this is Lewis Hall right here. Now this, I don't know if this building is still in operation or not, but it looks extremely old. And it has dormitory on it, so I'm guessing this is a dorm. Wow. Looks like they're doing some construction over there, so they're adding another modern building to the campus. Construction activity going on over there. Student Union building right over here.
Henderson Young Hall. And this is the library over here, the John Brown Watson Memorial Library. As you can see, and you have a sculpture of the Golden Lion right here in front of the library. So all in all, pretty dope historical campus here in Pine Bluff, UAPB. And with that in mind, this would draw to a close this really cool, dope video here in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to this vlog. And if you made it this far, make sure you hit that like button. Also, if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell. And once you hit the notification bell, make sure you tap all. That way you get notified each and every time I drop a new vlog. And also, thanks a lot for special thanks to Angie for participating in this video and giving some really dope insight into Pine Bluff. So go follow her, Afro Angie, on all platforms, including YouTube and Instagram. And also those who would like to donate to the channel, there are links in the bio to both PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee. Any donations, big or small, will greatly be appreciated. And all donations will go right back into the channel in regards to content creation. So with that in mind, good people, thanks for tuning in, and see you guys on the next one. Peace.